Hey, what's up everybody? It's KyFy. I'm glad you could be here. If you are new, welcome. This is a KyFy theory, and if you are a returning subscriber, it's good to see your face. You know how we do. So basically I have another good one for you today, and it involves when you have that feeling of having nothing, no one, nobody, nowhere to go, at the end, no light in sight, in the dark of the tunnel, like all of that emotion and all of that feeling right now. What is it about that moment basically that's so special? What is it about that moment, and why does it have such an importance in this reading today? So that's what we're going to get into. So if you like the content, if you like my material, basically give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your favorite reader, because this is going to be for them eventually. I'm going to be creating an app, and it's going to be for all readers and all people who are interested in spiritual studies in general. So that's what it's for, and here we go with the reading. So what is the ZinFinity Board? The ZinFinity Board is an elementally energetic grid that flows in a 21-part circuit housing all aspects of the mind in a still life fashion. Anything that you can possibly think of, everything that's on your mind right now, basically it's here. So it's up to us to make it clear. I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown what we go through and some of the elements of the board, so you can kind of be with us if you're new, right? But if you're returning, you know, it's always good to do a little recap. We all know the chakras, so I'm going to go down the chakras from the tree of life, from the crown to the root, right? So I ordered it a little bit differently, and it starts at 0 and that's at Da'at, right? So 0 is the throat chakra, right? Then it goes to the crown, right? So 0, 1. So from the crown energy, we have the third eye, which is these two pieces right here. It's represented in this circle, but you know, just to make it look pretty, and because you know it's a down triangle, up triangle, macabre, that kind of thing, I did it this way. So the light side of the third eye is right here with Hokmah. The dark side of the third eye is right here with Bina, right? Moving down there, then we go back to the throat chakra, right? Now it's real. Before it was an imagination. Now before it was something before, right? We don't really know what that before is, but there was something before, and now it's real. The ether's here. The throat chakra is here now, right? You have the throat chakra, which consists of 3 parts: Da'at, Chesed, and Gevurah. And from there we go to the heart chakra, which is Tiferet right here. This is the air energy. Then we go to the solar plexus, which is holding that sack, right? That's the fire energy. Then we go to Yesod, which is, that's the water energy, right? And then Malkut, we have the earth energy. As far as these domains that you see here, the big triangle that you see here represents the world of emanation. This side of the circle right here represents the world of creation, and that's Bariya. The world of emanation is Absolute, right? The world of creation is Bariya. The world of formation we have over here, and that's Yatsira. And the world of manifestation we have at the bottom right here is Asiya, right? So with these elements that you know right now, what we're actually going to answer in this reading is a lot. But basically, if you can ask yourself who, a question that involves who, what, when, where, and why, and then we're going to go over the information down the line on how we can figure it out. So this reading works ethereally. So I'm going to be in your mind, and we're going to create the scene. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty of everything that's going on. You're going to be able to see it and then use it and work it and, you know, alchemize it, do whatever you need with it. So here we go. The first part of the reading is Ayin. And if you know the tree of life, there's Ein Soph Or at the top of it, right? We're going to do that whole section right now, and it has to do with these 10 perspectives that you see here, opposite of the domains. So not including the domains. There are 10 spaces we're gonna draw cards for, and that is Ayin. This has to do with the perspectives of the mind, right? All perspectives that you have. So the first perspective is I know. Then it's I be, your being, who you're going to be at the end of the beginning and end of every day, right? Then you go to I want, and then you go to I need. These are two different things, wanting and needing. Wanting has to do with the ego, needing has to do with what you spiritually know you need, right? Then you go to what you will, what you can do, and the patterns, basically, right? And then you go to desire. Once you go, well, basically it's I want, I need, I will, and I desire, right? Then it's I love in the heart chakra. Then you have in the solar plexus, I do, right? Or I act. This has to do with basically your habits, right? Then you go from there to I feel naturally in the sacral chakra, right? Then at Malkut you have I am. So these are all affirmational, but they're all perspectives in your mind at the same time. So when you understand what these perspectives hold and what they give out and what they need, then you can start balancing things yourself. So with all that said and done, I'm going to get these cards down right about now. Alright, so basically, as I mentioned before, this board is elementally energetic. So as you can see here, this is earth, water, fire, air. So that's the space that it should be. Fire and air can be in this place. Fire and earth can be in this place. Water and air can be in this place. Right? So when it's elementally energetic, I'll tell you which ones are off right now. Starting off with I know. Your knowledge is off and is emotionally guided. What I mean by that is whatever your current emotion is changes the information that you know. So this is your goalpost at the same time. This is your place of aspiration. This is the place of where your mind and your spirit are at one and going towards the same thing. So if this place is emotionally manipulated, where you're going, you just took a left turn. You just took a wrong turn. You got off the highway. Now you got to find your way back. That kind of thing is going on when an emotional trigger is happening. So think about that really quickly, and we're going to move on from the knowledge, because not like it isn't for you, right? Let's just say if this was the ace of any, or the fire or the air one, we'll be right in line with the imagination that needs to happen, because your imaginations run wild. You are very imaginative, so you reach for everything, it seems. Right? When your imagination, you can't like handle it, basically. You can run into places where, well, not places, instances where you have a panic attack. That's very possible, because the panic is in the mind and your body is responding to what your mind is saying. So your mind cannot tell the difference, or your body cannot tell the difference from what the mind is saying to what's actually real. So you have to be in the present moment. I'm okay, I am doing fine, that kind of thing. You have to overwrite what your mind is doing in the background, because that's out of control. It's like the subconscious is just going haywire, right? So if this resonated, the knowledge of the triggers, what actually triggers you, you need to focus on. Think about it. Alright, moving on from there, we have what crowns the reading, right? So this is what actually grounds you too. It crowns you, it crowns the reading, and it grounds you. It grounds you in which element comes up. So it doesn't matter which comes up here, but whatever comes up here, it eliminates the fact that you don't need to balance it in another place. So what this means is, this is the Two of Pentacles, right? So this Six of Cups, which is off suit, now it doesn't really matter, because being yourself fixes this problem, right? So we're gonna get to that problem later, but just understand that the Two of Pentacles has to do with your being and what you're going to be at the beginning and the end of every day. That's what I like to say, because it makes the most sense that way. And since this is just center, there's nothing really off, we're gonna move past this one to what's next. Now this is the crown chakra. We're going to the third eye chakra right now. And this is the Three of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Now on the Three of Swords side, this is offsuit. And on the light side, Hokmar, basically, right, of the third eye, this is offsuit. And that has to do with the wisdom. Now when it comes up to the knowledge, it's on suit. So, well, not the knowledge, knowledge. What you know and knowledge is two different things. Knowledge is waiting to be given to you, and what you know is what you've experienced, right? It's like different. It's a little bit different. So, yeah. When it comes up to what you want, it goes like this. You can do things in repetition with whatever way that you thought of that it would come to pass, right? And get to this place. But where you're going, this is the path, right? How you're going to get there. And this is where you're going, right? This is the beginning and ending of all things, da'at, right? How you're going to get there is misguided by you changing your mind all of a sudden. So where you wanted to go before is not where you wanted to go. And that left you in a sense of heartbreak. We're going to find out why a little bit later. I hope you can hear me above the AC because it's kind of hot and I couldn't just turn it off, right? Ain't nobody trying to cook out here. On the dark side of the third eye, we have the Eight of Cups, and this is on suit. So even though that you're walking away from a few things, even though you're walking away from these triggers, even though these triggers are starting not to have that same impact, you're choosing not to have any trigger at all. So the triggers to go forward to do the thing is in opposition right now. So you can't be triggered to do what you want, and you can't be triggered by something that happens to you. So you've cut all the ties. But you need to understand that you need to open the door that leads you to go forward. You need to open that one door. So this is looking for that one door. And you already, or not you already know it. Your spirit is waiting to show you that door. So watch out for the messages, the signs that come up. Honestly, when you are looking for a sign, if you reach hard enough with your imagination, you'll get to an idea that you'll be like, I think this is crazy. No, you're not. You're speaking to yourself. And what is yourself? Right? So let's get into some of these messages real quick. Selfness. You know how you have consciousness right here? Consciousness is of the ego. And of the spirit, you have the self. Right? So there's the ego, the self. The self is known as the id. But in your selfness and in your consciousness, right? So that's the opposite and the parallel with that. And then you have your spirit and you have your ego. So it's a tiny distinction, but it means something and it matters. If that helps, it helps. And to end off what this means, this is in the place of what you need. So what you need to get where you want to go and how you get there, right? So this is what you need. So this is the gas for the car, right? You understand the relationship? That's the gas for the car. Next up, in the place of I will, we have the Five of Swords, and this is also offsuit. Let me re-explain what I mean by offsuit. It's a circuit that goes on a 21-part circuit. So as I go down the line, there's an invisible line that's filling up. As I was saying, there's an invisible line that now fills up from point to point. So imagine 21 points in a circle, and we're just going to keep going around this circle. And as I go down the line, we're going, you know, in order, right? So the next one in that order was I will. And this is the Five of Swords offsuit. This should be fire or earth, and it's not. You are in your mind and not on your feet. And that's plain, and that's how it is. There's a reason for it, because there's a battle. There's a battle won and a battle lost. Sometimes a loss is a win too, because when you lose something that you were holding on to that held you back, it actually propels you forward. So don't think of a loss as a loss. There's something that's not holding you back no more. There's a weight gone, even if you didn't want it to be gone. There's a weight that's gone. And it's mental. It's not like it's something that you need to actually carry. But mentally, you need to keep up that form. And what does that mean? What is a mental form? I say this is the place of formation and patterns, right? The patterns and the habits that you form that gets things done. So the patterns and the habits that you have for somebody else took up your time. This is the place of time. This has to do with when, and that's affluence, right? We're gonna get to it. I don't want to skip, because if I skip, I'm skipping where the actual energy is in your chakra line. So let me keep going. On the side of I desire, we have the 5 of Wands, and this is also offsuit. So this is the 5 here and the 5 here. It almost seems like it should be like this, but who you are is going to decide that. It's like you can just decide to do this right now, and you know it, but it's some kind of pain that stops you from going forward to it or going towards it. It's like you have the power, but like I said, with the motivation, you need a muse. You need something that fuels you and motivates you. You're looking for it, but it's for you and it's coming towards you. All you got to do is sit still enough and get out of your mind to understand what it is, because sometimes that's when the anxiety comes. When you're looking for the answer, trying to figure it out, doing too much, changing up so much instead of feeling it out. You know, when you feel it out, that's yourself. You're feeling yourself. You're feeling what you want to do. I hope that makes sense. This is your selfness. We have to find a word. I believe we need to find a word that involves self, that doesn't sound selfish, because this self is an actual thing, and it's not. It shouldn't be tagged with something so negative. Like, I'm a Cancer sign. Like, are y'all kidding me? Half of y'all hate me because, like, it's just, even parts of me is like, why I gotta be like that? But I represent it every day, because that's the 6-9, and that's a 9 ether from the 666. And when I started to learn about those two aspects, yeah, I gained pride. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing about it now. We here. We here. Also 369, Tesla, yeah, he was a part of it too. I don't play. Tesla is definitely Cancer gang, and I don't care when he was born. There's an important thing to understand about fire and your desire. Now, that might seem like it's good, right? But you have to understand, this fire, in this sense, is your consciousness in the place where spirit should be taken the most. So your focus, what you're focusing on, has to do with your ego. This is something out of pain that you formed into a dream, but it's not a dream, it's a fantasy. Your spirit holds the dream. You create fantasies behind pain, but as you heal, those fantasies change, because you notice that you didn't need those things. It's just something that kind of fueled you to move forward, right? So maybe you need new aspirations. Maybe you need to reorganize what your fantasies were, because I figured out something about fantasies. Now, you can take it how it resonates. This is how I feel, and this is how I believe. The ratio of the energy between the consciousness and the spirit is 1 to 9. And the reason why it's like that, you know, perfect is 10, but 1 to 9 in our conscious light, because what do we see of the light spectrum? We barely see anything. 0.00 like 0.005 or something like that. It's less than that. It's some ridiculously low number of the actual things we can see with our eyes. With our senses, we can see more, but we're not thinking that it's seeing. We're thinking that it's feeling. But these are the perspectives of the eyes. These are also places where the clairvoyant energies occur too. The clear senses are basically your ability to speak with spirit. And then you have your regular senses, how you're able to observe what's around you. Right? You know how raccoons go like this? I don't know why I did that just now. So if you're seeing raccoons, you need to be observant of what's happening. This is your left hand, this is your right hand. Or whichever way you see it, it doesn't really matter. Right? Moving on from there, in the heart chakra, this is the 5 of Pentacles again, 555. And I just noticed that it's 3-5. Sometimes you gotta just work towards it. See? This is why I can't skip. I had to figure that out and I didn't even notice it, right? So this 5 of Pentacles is offsuit. Every time that I say it's offsuit, that means that the energy from the crown chakra did not reach here, and it didn't even reach past your knowledge. So when you're not, I hope you can understand that part, because it is a concept, and I want to make sure that I don't lose anybody with the explanation. So this has to do with a blockage, a material blockage that's stopping you from doing things. This is a specific material blockage, something that's actually physical that's stopping you from doing things. It's not mental. So it's something that's a crutch, naturally. I was getting to it. There's a crutch in your energetic space that's holding your money and your time hostage. And it might be an addiction. That's one example. Because an addiction can take your money. Let me run down it again. An addiction can take your money, and money, time, and space is a trinity of its own self. When you have the money, you don't have to give your time to a job in order to go do the thing that you want to do in your space, right? Your kingdom, your space. So the fact that we are contracted to work in this economy, we are slaves to the time that we need to give up just to live here. So we're limited already on, like, at jump. We gotta live, we gotta eat, we gotta do some things just to survive. But opposite that, that's when you have time to build yourself out of it. So it's the extra that you do outside of working that actually replaces what you work in general. So if that helps, that helps. Next up, we have an energy that's on suit, and this is the sun. So understand this. The things that you are figuring out to do, the ideas that you are having, that you are going along with, that you're saying, okay, I can do this kind of mantra, right? It's all in repetition, but a mantra that you do. Something that you switched up to do in the morning, like your morning routine, because how you start the morning is how you end the night, right? So if you start better off, if you say good things in the morning, next thing you know, when something bad happens in the middle of the day, you can just kind of let it pass because you didn't charged up in the morning. No, I'm going to have a good day. It doesn't matter what happened today. I'm just going to have a good day. Don't matter. And that's how that energy just flows through you. And let me tell you something about the energy flowing through you. I'll talk about this all the time with karma. When you eat the karma, it becomes your potential. That you take that. That's your energy. So a lot of people say return to sender. I don't say that no more because I heard somebody say that's for you to learn about. It hurt you or it affected you. It triggered you. Find out why. And all of that energy that came to you before, now you can use. It's almost like counter energy. So when you counter it, it becomes your potential. And eventually, the more potential you have, even if you are stagnant, that potential is going to come to you in some sort of luck. So this is in a place of why, luck, right? That's why. You have your questions, who, what, when, where, and why. And I'm going to go over it soon, but I just wanted to, get that out real quick. Next up is the Emperor, and this is off suit in the place of I feel. This is a fire energy in the place of I feel. So just as desire, it's a stubbornness in how you want to go with things. Like, you need to experience something in a certain way in order to move forward. Now, how stingy is that compared to what God has for you? Now, imagine it was given a rating. The scene that you want to play out was a trashy scene, and you think it's good, and that's a part of that fear fantasy, right? It's a part of that. But we have to get to nothing, nowhere, and nobody, right? We have to get to that, and I'm gonna get to that when you get to who, what, when, where, and why in a little bit. This energy is of consciousness, and spirit should be taking control. And when spirit is not taking control, this is where your energy starts. This is where it's manifested and you can use. So if you're gonna water a plant, there's no water for the plant, so eventually it would dry out and die. Or the natural things that happen when it doesn't have water. It's looking for this. It's getting rid of leaves. It's cutting down things. But these are things that you need to photosynthesize, to magnetize, to, I can say alchemize. It's it's ramen, but that kind of thing is meant for you to transmute the energy. You can't transmute with if the engine is not running, you can't transmute. So we're back to the Six of Cups. But as I explained before, the Two of Pentacles is here. And since it's in this box, this is in the ether, right? This box right here is in the ether. And It's an octahedron. But yeah, okay. When I said octahedron, I remember a lecture that I saw, right? A video online. You know, I see so many. But there was a guy explaining sacred geometry and how the octahedron has 6 cardinal directions. And when I heard 6 in my mind, I saw the 6 of cups. So there's a lack of directions that you have with tool that you need. Or the tool that you have, okay, I said it backwards, but you understand it. The tools that you have at your disposal is like you are lacking the directions to use it. But the directions come from the self. And as you dig deep and go in and try to heal, but not try to heal, as you heal, these instructions become clear because they're who you are. It's like your DNA is the instructions. Your DNA is the instructor, right? It's all three in at the same time. It's the Trinity. Your DNA is the generator, the operator, and the destroyer of all things. It can do whatever. The DNA is... I don't want to keep going into it because, you know, this is outside the reading. So, let's get to nothing, nowhere, and nobody. Why is it so important? Why is it so powerful? What is it about not having anything that's so beautiful? When you have nothing, you're stagnant, you're in hope, you're hopeful, most likely, waiting, right? Can't really do anything. So you're just fresh meat for God. God is looking at you like, I'm about to do something because this object right here, I can plan something. This is stationary long enough for me to put a seed in. Like, you're teachable. You became teachable. So of course, when you're teachable, you can actually learn what you need to, well, how to use yourself. Learn how to use yourself instead of other people using you. That's the craziest thing. People love to be around you because they can use you. But why is it that people know the beautiful thing about you to use? That's the key in itself. If somebody is taking advantage of you, they're literally putting a light negatively, but on your blessing. So, you know, with power comes with great power comes responsibility and all that stuff. So it's irresponsible right now. You're being irresponsible with the gift that you're giving, but that person is shining that dark light on that irresponsibility. So when you learn to control it, oh, that's why I act up. That's the reason why I do that. Everything changes. Everything changes. Now, everything that could trigger you becomes ammo for that gun that you got now. It's over, and it's on sight. It's on sight for everything. Yeah, right. So, nothing, nowhere, nobody. When you close your eyes, you see darkness. When you sleep, you think about, oh, okay, I was in darkness somehow. I might have saw some visions or something like that. But what's past the darkness? The darkness is of spirit, but spirit is not God. So there's something past it. The only thing I can really say so you can understand it is, imagine, you know, there was light, now there's dark, and then there's nothing. But nothing is like what God is in general. We cannot define God. How do you define something that's undefinable? You can think of nothing to describe it. At the end of the day, you just have to give up. So there's nothing aspect. You can't name God. You can't see God. God is nothing. You can't name it, right? But we know about it. We fathom it. We get it. We understand. We know it's there, but you can't see it. And that's the conscious. You can't consciously see it, but you know it in your spirit, right? You know it in your soul. And you're spiritually guided to figure out how to connect with it. But on the other side, absent darkness, just imagine a clear ball. It's just clear. You just can't see it. And that's the funny thing when I said that. Do you remember that eclipse? It was something crazy that went on. And we saw how it was black. It wasn't the moon. wasn't the moon, because the moon was all the way over there as per that video that we all seen, right? So it was some kind of black ball. And I found that funny because as I'm looking for this description, some people say it's Nibiru, right? It really doesn't matter what it is, but to know that there's something else exposes the lie. So all of that negativity that holds us down in the world is not even slowly unlatching itself. It's like it can't even, it's Butterfingers. They trying their hardest to hold the same order that they had before. It's not gonna, it's over for that, right? It's completely over for that order. And guess what's happening, right? We know what's happening. So you have nothing. You can't. God is not anything. God is everything, and there's nothing to describe. You might as well just say God is everything or nothing, right? Can we find God physically anywhere in this world? So God is nowhere but everywhere at the same time. These are two, I don't know if it's called oxymoron, I forgot. But it's two parallel observations that you gotta kind of understand. Well, that I hope you understand. Because when you feel like you have nobody to count on, that's when God is the most present. And it's not like you're giving up. I heard from this guy, you gotta give in. You gotta give into the situation. When you give in to spirit. You give in to what spirit says you should do, and you'll hear it because you don't know how to fix it. So your mind just like, I can't do this, I quit. Then you're like, okay, since I quit, there's nothing for my spirit to do but gain potential. You're looking, you're scrolling, you're seeing things, you're gathering data, you're figuring things out, but there's nothing to do at this point. So this is talking about how to get it done. And when you want it to be done, it comes out of nowhere, because from nothing comes something. And I could keep going on, but just understand that whenever you can fathom nothing that's going to help you, whenever you're saying that there's nothing there, that means the whole presence of God is there. So when you acknowledge that, you'll understand the power and you can sleep easy. So officially, the next part of this reading is Soph. And this has to do with who, what, when, where, and why everything is occurring. These are the answers I'm going to answer right now. And according to everything we went over so far, we're understanding why these things are happening, right? But let's get down to it. When it comes into the world of emanation, we have shift. So when I just saw this just now, when I explained about flipping this to the other side, doing things backwards, because it seems like that's the answer. Anybody who is kind of normal in this world is actually crazy. The people who stand out and just try to be as weird as possible are honestly more sane than the rest of them. Why? Because they acknowledge the farce that's going on. They acknowledge it. And they say, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be a butterfly. I will not do it. I can't do anything else in this world. I would not be a slave. I would be a butterfly. And they would be a butterfly. That's just it. They're going to be a butterfly. And when I see people like that, I don't laugh. I don't laugh. You don't know why they're doing that. That's an escape. And that's also a way for people to vent. So find your own way to stand out. Because when you do that, you're being yourself. You are in your selfness. You are letting spirit guide you. So shift. Miracles, divine intervention. This is who? Miracles, divine intervention, the end of stagnation, and divine inspiration are here now. Drawing this card signifies an aha moment or sudden change in any situation that was stuck or blocked. A welcome change or answer you have been seeking is here now. Meditate on this symbol when you're feeling stuck or unsure of which way to go or having a block of creativity. Now, creativity is over here, and that's of the spirit. If you're having a block of creativity, it's meaning that you're unable to use your spiritual powers, your spiritual gifts, and of that sort. Your clear senses. You're unable to use it. Why? Because your knowledge is swayed and triggered. Well, your triggers you know, make you not, I hope you guys understand, I can't even say it right now. They don't want me to say it. Maybe it needs to be said a different way. So the better you are able to handle your emotions, the more knowledge you have access to. So that has to do with who. So wherever that resonated for you, that's the focus of who. And if you're pointing, understand, you know, you got fingers pointing back at you, you are at fault too, because you allowed it to happen. So I learned to be quiet in pointing, because when you learn discernment and you get that automatic karma when you do something wrong, that's bull. That's bull. And you can see it. You can see the automatic karma. I shouldn't have did that. Ah, crap, something gonna happen. And then you trip and scuff your shoe. Something light. And God is like, don't do it again. We don't got time for that. You know better. But you have to unpack that baggage to know better, because the lessons are in that baggage. But yeah. Next up, in the world of creation, we have trust. So trusting in spirit. What does that do for you? That gets you what you need when you trust in spirit, right? You get what you need when you trust in spirit. So let's see what it says. Step into the unknown. All may not be revealed at this time. Trust in the unseen forces. Meditate on this to let go of all attachments or possibilities. Free yourself from your dharma and increase your trust in your guides in the universe. This is the first time I got this card, so I'm hyped. So it's the first time I got an opportunity to talk about trust. When you trust in yourself, you're trusting in the energy of spirit. And that means you can handle more, because you're more responsible. As you gain responsibility towards yourself, you will start to respect yourself. As you start to respect yourself, you create these boundaries, right? Now, another message I had was fear versus boundaries. When you trust in yourself and you trust that you're going to hold up a boundary. Now, we go through things and we have negative experiences, and we build boundaries not to have these negative experiences again, because it has a fear attached to it or other things attached to it, right? It's an emotion that you don't want to go through again. You don't want to experience again, right? And honestly, we would do almost anything not to like do that again. And this is why we have so many arguments. We're not able to express the things that we need, and people are not willing to listen to what we need. You know, vice versa at the same time. But we all want the same thing, which is peace. We just don't want to be the loser. When you decide to trust in spirit, this invisible big safety net appears that you can never see, but you know it's there. And as you fall, you know, we all fall, but we rise. As you fall and you start to experience that net, it takes you to fall to feel it, to know that it's there. And that brings that potential, right? Because you're at the bottom. There's nowhere to go. You can push off from the bottom. Now you drowning. Now you're at the bottom of the seafloor. There's no further. You can go in trenches, okay. Yeah, right. But that's the furthest you're going to go down. It's only going up from here. But that's the safety net. It's only so far that spirit will allow you to go down in order to understand something. And it's all in perspective anyway. We believe that we're going through something and it's harder than it actually is, because we put emotion towards it. You think about it and it builds an emotion, and then you think about it again, it builds more emotion. You think about it again, it builds more emotion. Now your mind gets out of control, and that brings that anxiety and a panic attack again. And this is when affirmations come in. I am beautiful. I feel beautiful. I do beautiful things. I love beauty and I go after it. I desire beauty. I will go after the beautiful things. I can do the beautiful things. I need these beautiful things in my life. I want these beautiful things in my life. I'm going to go after it. And I know that this is beauty for me. That kind of thing. That's affirmational. there's so many more affirmations, of course, but it's not only I am. I am is powerful. It gets you past fear, but it doesn't get you moving. So there's more, right? So that was trust. I don't know, I have to talk about it. But next up is affluence, and this is in the world of formation. So let me get it real quick. Wealth. Wow, I just realized that your being is a pinnacle. Affluence looks like a pinnacle. So I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. Wealth in all forms is available to you now. You are rich on all accounts. Drawing this card invites you to feel the abundant flow of having all that you need on the material and spiritual planes. If you are inquiring about a situation or relationship, this certainly indicates that there is much to be experienced here. Enjoying the fruits of your labor. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. You are being provided for and rewarded at this time. Labor. These are the building blocks. It's either going to be this block or this block, but it's going to be built. You understand that? You're willing to deal with the consequences. You later, it don't matter. Spirit got it. I'm just going to look forward. That's what this is giving me. And it's wealthy, because Spirit is going to say, okay, I can give you a lot more to do a lot more things because you're willing to go a lot further. And you are responsible, and you can hang, you can handle it. Right? So yeah. Next up is water. And this is in the world of manifestation. So let me get it real quick. Emotions, receptivity, and a connection to bodies of water. Drawing this card is a symbol of connecting to your emotions regarding your question or situation. So your question in this regard, I forgot. So trust had to do with where. And where is within. So the answers are within you, right? When has to do with what you build. So your being, who you're going to be at the end of the day, it's only a matter of time before that structure presents itself, and then you can use it, right? And what is the structure? A whole bunch of patterns that you create, new habits, new things, new ways of doing things that show you different ways to do better things, and then you just keep growing after that, right? So that's when. What has to do with water? So let me continue. Allow yourself to be open to any changes of direction, and let the element of water guide you in the right direction. Meditate with this symbol by a body of water, in a bath, or with a vessel of water to help keep the emotions pure and to assist you in being more flexible. Now, our energy changes things around us, whether we know it or not, just by our aura in general, right? But when you speak, and there's two types of speaking. There's the speaking in your mind, right? There's the one that you don't even have to use words for. And then, not everybody can do that. And that's crazy. I never knew that, right? But there's that thought. Like if you're saying 2 + 2 is 4, 4 + 8 is, okay. That person, that thing that's talking, if that's out of control, that's what we're talking about right now. But when you use that voice and your regular voice in your aura, it changes things around you. It just does, right? So doing that to a vessel of water, a bottle of water, will cause that water to lose its energy. You know, blessing your water, we call it holy water, but the same thing. It's you know, it's a similar concept. You're blessing the water, putting good energy on the water, therefore it works more powerfully. It's more structured. It gives more blessings. When you freeze it, it creates better images. I can't remember his name again. Yakamoto. Nakamori. I can't. But it's the guy who went about the practice of freezing the water to find out the images that it created. The flash freezing of the water. I forget his name all the time, but I see him, I see his face. Alright, so that was Soph. Next up in the line of reading is Or. So you have these energies that are off, started from the crown to the root, right? When we get back to the root this time, we're going to go to the next part of the reading with it, which is the star stream. But Or has to do with the consciousness. What can you consciously do? What is the energy required to balance the situation? That's what you're consciously doing right now. So this is about that. Starting off. So if you give me a moment, I'm gonna get some of these cards down right about now. Alright, so as I was putting the cards down, I realized I forgot why. So let's read luck right now. What does luck have to do with anything? That's coincidence, right? Because at the time it's, what a coincidence, you got this, you won, right? The chances. That is known as the hand of God. Coincidence is the hand of God. So your why has to do with that. So lucky, you've got the Midas touch. Everything you touch turns to gold at this time. Enjoy this winning streak you are on. Meditate on this when you need an extra boost. Being in the right place at the right time kind of energy. So it seems like when you trust, you'll always wind up in the right place. And that brings a sense of jealousy. Because what gives you all of these blessings right now? People have a perspective of who they think you are, but they don't know your trial or what you've been through, what you've unpacked, what you've put away, what you've let go. They don't know your record. Only God does. So Spirit is allowed to bless you in so many different ways. Spirit speaks to the universe and says, okay, he or she deserves this Mazda right now. Matter of fact, not a Mazda, Maserati. I spelled it wrong, right? It's just how it is. And certain people, even though they're on their trial, they're doing their lessons, they're not in the same place you are. And that's okay, because we live in different time. The fact that that's a different person, you see him from a different perspective. We are in different times, even though I'm right in front of you right now. We're living in two different time frames, time zones. It doesn't matter. We are not the same. So yeah, that was luck. But now we're gonna go into ore. We had a lot going on, but it all panned out. And it did kind of beautifully. Nothing went over. And what I mean by that, I do a 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing. If I had to draw more than 3 cards, it means that perspective is going to require a lot more time and a lot more effort to clear that energy, to balance it in general. This is all about balance. So we're going to understand that the more energy, the more cards that's placed, the more time, effort it's going to take. It's kind of that simple, but let's start going from 0 to 10 and then back to 0 with the next part. Alright, so it started off with the Ace of Cups and your knowing. So I know the Ace of Cups. Let me get it right now. So, new feelings, spirituality, and intuition. What does your intuition has to do? Why is it wrong? Now, this is in the place of your imagination. Intuition is in the spirit. This is how you figure things out. So if you're trying to figure things out right at the well, it's like you got your hand in front of that little waterfall and it's not allowing the water to fall. So the fountain is blocked because of anxiety, as I was saying before, but it went to the Page of Cups. Now, let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. Happy, surprise, dreamer, and sensitivity. Now, this is also water in the place where it should be fire or air. So that's still an emotional tag to it, but it's more control because you're deciding to take part, right? And when you did that, it ended up with the stars. So all that dreamer energy is what you need right now. You need to connect yourself back to the dream that you had when you was a child. In the innocence of where you were when you were young, there was an idea that you had. You need to connect to that because that's that tag. That's the instruction manual to your tool, your body, your essence, your being, and your fate. Not even your fate, your destiny. That's a better word because that's how I like to think of it. I said this before. If my life is the side mission, what's the main mission? Because God brought us down here for a reason, right? That's my take on what I'm here for. My life is a mission, but it's a side mission. And I can do this. And I can choose to do something good for people too. Or I can choose to help to bring love to this world too. I chose that. And it went from there to the star. Now the star is an air card, and that cleared this energy out. So your knowing is completed with the star energy. The star energy goes from your side to basically Bina, right? Well, to the dark energy, the dark spectrum. It goes from there, right? So hope, faith, and rejuvenation. The energy of faith has to do with trust in the spirit. And you're going to trust in what your imagination brings, not allowing it to trigger you negatively, but allowing it to be pure potential for manifestation. So that's what the trust brings. And once you trust, you see this downpour. It's over. And that's all for you. And it's like a special order for you from God. So imagine getting this like next day, FedEx next day blessing kind of thing. And you see it. It just like a new notification. I didn't order this. God did. Don't worry about it. It's in your name. It's already paid for. You ain't got to worry about it. That kind of blessing energy. People going to be mad. But it's just your time to reap what you've been sowing. You've been sowing good seeds in yourself, your selfness, and in the world around you. So this is the time it's going to pay up. It's just what it is. Alright. From there, it went to the being, right? What you're going to be at the beginning or end of every day. And that is the Two of Pentacles. Balancing decisions, priorities, adapting to change. Adaptation is very important. Because if you are able to adapt, it's almost like, let's say you're playing basketball. The wickedest crossover, you'll be able to adapt to it. So it's only a certain amount of times that that person will be able to get past you with this trickery, right? With this sorcery. It's only a certain amount of times that they're going to be able to do it to you before you learn it. And you'll be able to do it either back to them or defend it perfectly. Or it's the perfect boundary because they got to upgrade that negativity. But, you know, by that time, you get away from them. If you see it going down the hill, you don't have to follow. You can stay where you are and go a different direction. You see where it's going. Alright, so went from there to, that's your being, right? And went from there to your third eye. And it started off, let's go to the light side of it with Hokama at the Three of Swords. Let's see. So this is heartbreak, suffering, and grief. Grief naturally is in the heart. So this area right here will explain that. So we're not gonna skip, but we're gonna understand why it's over here. The fact that it says suffering means that who wants to suffer? Not many people are willing to put themselves. Let's just talk about working out real quick. Not many people are not able, or maybe some people aren't able to, right? That's a different case. But for the people who can, beauty comes after the suffering. So you got to be willing to suffer. The gurus and the business people that you admire, they had to suffer to learn how to operate with themselves, to create that structure that you admire right now. That came through diligence and discipline. So being able to put yourself through that suffering without God dragging you to it, it's beautiful because you can get there quicker. It went from there to the Hangman. So the Hangman brings those energies reverse. So that's seeing from the opposite perspective, right? So that's sacrifice, release, and martyrdom. Martyrdom, there's a boldness to it. Willingness to die for whatever you believe in. But it doesn't have to be that drastic, but it is that serious, you know? That's how it will feel when you actually present that energy of, I'm going to. You know, and before it talked about the suffering. Now this is the sacrifice. You understand what you need to go through. So you're willing to see why and go through it. So that ended off with the devil. Of course, the energies don't want you to complete this task. So why wouldn't they show you all of the things that you went through before? It's like a recap, like a negative recap of everything. So you know how before, like, you know how they say your life flashes before your eyes before you die? Now, there's a part of you that's about to transition, and it's mental. So there's a phoenix moment going over here, and what it has to do is to make sure that you can go to this next level. It's almost like a regents, or like the in exam in school, some kind of exam that's in the end of the year. Whichever one, choose it. It works just that way. The devil gonna make sure that he can't tempt you, and it's not gonna be easy, but you're gonna know exactly where the attacks are coming from. And it's almost like, I've been through this, guy. Why are you showing me this again? No, it's just a test. It's just a test. I'm just making sure. Did you learn? Yes, you did. And congratulations, because you did. That's what that's about. You've tamed that trigger. The biggest trigger. So that ended that energy. And I will. I need had to do with the Eight of Cups. Let's get it. Walking away. Disillusionment. Leaving behind. Now, disillusionment. The sun is right here. And disillusionment is right here. Now, what you're doing, this is movement right here. And this guy is moving away from what triggered them before. Now, since these things don't have power over you, they're empty cups. They were filled with a lot of BS before. Now they're empty cups waiting for the blessing to come through. But it's going to come through very soon. And this star has 8 stars in it. So if that's significant, because it's the 8 of Cups and 8 stars. So next up in the line is I Will. And it started off with the 5 of Swords. And I talked about that before, how your mind you needed to control that sense of anxiety. And when you do that, you know how to do it already. You only just got to make it work. You got to keep doing it until it becomes a part of you. Oh, I'm always okay now. I'm forever good. This is not going to affect me. That kind of talk to yourself overrides the negative that was there before. The negative can sound crazy, so I'm not going to go back to it. It's gone. Don't even try to remember it. So, 5 of Swords. Unbridled ambition, winning at all costs, and sneakiness. Now, the sneakiness is the thing. Your selfness is a bold creature. It wants to be seen. It wants to be out and about. It wants to have full control over what you're doing, because that basically holds your dream. Your self knows your dream. Your spirit knows why you came here. And being sneaky is not going to tame these negative energies, because they walk all over that. Oh, you're not speaking from your chest. I don't believe you. Don't be sneaky. Walk. Make sure they hear you coming. Stomp your feet. Next up on I Will is the 6 of Swords. And, you know, 8 of Cups, leaving behind, 6 of Swords. Let's see. It says transition, leaving behind, and moving on. So these are the same energies. And the crazy thing about that, the reason why I love this board, you see this triangle that's right here? Just think of this as an eye. The eye of creation is will. So your creation wants to be connected to what you can do. And it makes sense, because if you can create everything your spirit can give you, that's like full unity. It's complete unity. If your eye is on the spirit, like I was saying, if your eye is on the spirit, then you honestly don't even need to look anywhere else. It's just like, look here, just focus on this, don't worry about it. Oh, but if I look, it's something that's about to hit me, like, I gotta look back. I don't want to look back. I'm trying to trust you guys. That's what it feels like. It's like, you sure you want me to keep looking over here? Because I hear somebody running towards me with an axe. And I'm supposed to look this way? That's like the impossibility of the trust right now. But yes, just look this way. It's honestly not even real. It is smoke and mirrors. It's not gonna, no weapon formed against you will prosper. These things hold weight because when you believe it, that energy comes on your aura, and that's a shield too. It keeps it away from you. You demagnetize from that energy in general. Alright, and it ended off with the 2 of Wands, and it cleared the energy. So let's see. So planning, making decisions, and leaving home. Wow, there's a lot of moving on energy. But love. You love yourself now. Because this is the place of balance. This is a place where we talk. This is the part of the reading where we talk about balance. And if you've been with me before, I always talk about how balance is love. Love is not love anymore. Love is balance. When you move to balance. That's what's happening. You're moving to balance the situation. When you balance the situation, growth happens. And we, as the little gods that we are, we want to see what we are going to become. We want to be the best thing that we can imagine. We want to see ourselves in the place that we're going to see ourselves like that, the bucket list. We want to do it now. That's who we actually are. We came here to do this stuff right now. There's no such time there's no better time than right now. And that's that energy. That's one of the reasons. I hope you can understand that, because it kind of just left. Alright, so moving on from there, we have I desire, and it started off with the 5 of Wands. Just like over here was a 5, this was a 5, and the heart was a 5. So these are connected. The ether and the heart chakra is connected. So what powers? Okay, I got it. 5 of Wands and the desire. Competition, conflict, and rivalry. Why are you fighting your spirit? That's just a question. Why are you fighting your spirit? Your spirit is a part of you. And even, okay, there's 2 parts of the darkness in you. The part that you love and the part that you don't like. The parts that you love are the pieces that you've gotten through. The pieces you transmuted. The pieces that allow you to walk with confidence now that you understand yourself. That's what that's about. And it went from there to the Ace of Pentacles. Did I see the Ace of Pentacles? No, that's Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups over here, Ace of Pentacles right here. That's why. It was affluence right here. This big old pentacle. And it came out over here. But it doesn't need to be here. This is actually offsuit too. So there's a godlike distraction that's blocking you. Or there's a godlike... Oh man, that's complete devil work. Oh man, it's like the devil put this beautiful thing in front of your path and it stopped you because you desire it. It's almost like giving you the last straw. The devil has to do this one last trick. That's all the devil got. One last trick. And you're gonna pass it. Why? Because you know what's for you, you know what's not for you. You're already walking from these things in the first place. So even if this ace comes in, you still got 7 more to work with. That's how it spoke to me just now. But it ended off, let's see the Ace of Pentacles. Let's see the Ace. Opportunity, prosperity, and new adventure. The prosperity in the situation is physical. And what your spirit gives you is spiritual. You know, is of that water essence, the creative essence, right? So when you have something physical like this blocking it from coming through, it's blocking up the dam, holding up the waterfall, blocking the flow of everything. But it has to do with what you think you need. So the fantasy is stopping you right now. What you fantasized before, like I said, when you were younger, you thought about things that would help you to be safe, and it became a fantasy. But as you grow and heal, that's erased and it's no longer your fantasy. So you can't get to that place. That's actually bringing you back. I don't need it anymore because I got over it. So now I need to write a new fantasy, a new dream board, that kind of thing. And as I said before, 9 fantasies equal a dream. So there's 9 different types of fantasies that you can have. And then there's the dream. Well, and then that makes up the dream. But which fantasies do you have? Let me explain this better. You can't directly talk to your spirit, right? If you can, show me how. But you can't directly talk to your spirit. You can feel it out. So moving on, what cleared the energy of desire is the 4 of Cups. So now, when it goes from what you need to what you desire, right? Now that you trust in spirit, you're not walking away from anything anymore. You're not actually closing those doors that you need anymore. So the only doors that are closed, it went from 8 to 4, right? The only doors that are closed are the ones that was keeping you, or that were triggering you, right? But let's get the 4 of Cups. Oh, apathy, contemplation, and disconnectedness. Anytime I see apathy now, I attack it like it owed me money. Because empath, I'm an empath, right? So that's our worst enemy. An apathetic person. All we do is see vibes and read the room. A person that cannot read the room and refuses to see the vibe, feel the wave, and all this other stuff, there is no role play. So that means there's only the ability of an argument. There's no debate. I'm not going to go that route because I don't feel you. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to understand you. Right? They're disconnected. So how can you communicate to them in the way of an empath? You have to communicate with them in the way that they speak. And it might come off crazy, but some of these things you have to do in order to communicate. It's not up to you that the language that you have to speak is going to sound that way. And it sounded like that to you, but to them it sounded exactly how it needs to. It's not your language, but you walk with God, you ask God what to say, hopefully in these situations, and you say some things, you go back home, and you just think about it like, did I say the right thing? Yes. Why? Because you cannot make mistakes with God. God knows why, and God is going to protect where it's going to go. It's just that simple. All you got to do is trust on spirit to get you back. So next up, in the heart chakra, it started off with the 5 of Pentacles. It was offsuit. This has to do with money, space, and time, and the beauty of inexperience, right? At the same time. So it started off with the 5 of Pentacles. So this is need, poverty, and insecurity. Alright. There's a lot of sense of restrictions that's here. Because there's the crutch that I mentioned before, and it was possibly an addiction. That's what I said before. But as I come here now, the crutch is a habit. That's not an addiction, like an addiction that you're thinking of. I said this before. Anything can be an addiction. Anything that you do can be an addiction. You can be addicted to walking, and it can actually be too much. You're doing too much walking, you're not working, you're not doing anything. And that's how an addiction of walking can actually stop you. But, well, I can actually deter you, hinder you, that kind of thing. Too much of anything is a bad thing. And it can become addictive. So, even though it's not a narcotic, what is it that you can possibly be doing that's an addiction that stops you? So, we're from there to the King of Wands reversed. Let me get it. So, impulsive, overbearing, unachievable, and expectations. Expectations is the worst things you can have. Expectations. Because the destiny, the greatest expectation that you can, the greatest experience that you can have was thought of before you came here. And was put into play. Like, if you do these certain things, you can have this greatest experience. But as you fantasize, you begin to expect things to go a certain way. But flowing with spirit brings you in direct divine alignment. So do your best to try to figure out if your fantasies align with your dream, because you won't step in front of spirit. You won't trip spirit up. You won't trip yourself up. You won't stop yourself, because it's very possible. And went from there to the Five of Pentacles reversed. So there's that right there. Going back to the addiction, recognizing it and seeing it from a different perspective, and understanding what it did for you, why you did it, and all of it is getting down to the nitty gritty, seeing yourself from outside of yourself. Like, I see why you're doing this. And it's almost like the perspective that you need to be your own therapist. So that's coming up. But sometimes you need to speak these things out, because it's inside of you and it's festering. And the thought provides an energy, and that energy is heating up. So it's causing you to cook. Your mind is cooking. So when you speak, it's outside of you. Hopefully it's with a person that can give it back to you in a better form that's managed. Because that's why we speak to people. That's why we need help. That's what we do. We get triggered by something, right? And it's very high emotional, high energetic. And then we speak to somebody who's been through it, right? Hopefully. And they know a form, something you can do in repetition that will help this situation, mediate it, that kind of thing. So there are people like that around you. You just got to be willing to be teachable, like I said before. So it ended off with the Lovers, and that's the air card on the air chakra, and that's perfect. So partnerships, union, and duality. Now this has to do with connections. We require connections for movement. If there's no connection, you cannot transmute. You cannot, well, yeah, if there's no connection, you cannot transmute between the spaces. So what I mean is this: fire and air help each other, basically. Fire and air help each other. And this connection right here is working. So it won't be too much heat, and it won't be too much mental energy. It won't be too many things that you're doing, because you'll do just enough for what you need. So it's like you're never imbalanced. And that's the kind of example I wanted to bring out when it comes to your connections. So this is basically telling me that you see the problem and you know the connections that you need, because this is the sun behind it. I didn't even see it until just now. The sun is behind this lover right now. These lovers. Never seen that. It's either the sun or they're like a plate, honestly. So it's dinner time, and that's from spirit. You're gonna get the itis from ISIS. But whatever. So in the solar plexus, we have the sun, and this energy was on suit. I said you see the problems that have arisen, and you're willing to do things different. That's the initial energy. But let me see. So joy, success, celebration, and positivity. What happens when you get to the point when you recognize what you are doing is working perfectly at every point? What would you do if you knew that what you could do would work? What would you do? Would you be stagnant? Would you be standing still? And this is what you're recognizing. You don't have the time to stand still, because this is the blessing that you've been waiting for, that thing that you've been praying for. And you have success with bringing those connections to you, with attracting those connections to you. So you have connections and relationships. So understand the connections allow the energy to be transmuted. How well it's transmuted is the relationship. So you can have a connection with somebody, but not a good relationship. And on top of that, in Hokmah is friendship. So there's connection, which is the beginning. Then it's the relationship. Then it's the friendship. Once you have a good relationship, it's friendship. So I find that funny that you gotta be friends second. Like, you have a relationship, I like you, this, I see where this is going, now let's become friends. So that's weird. I never heard it said like that. Let's get the relationship, then become friends. Not, oh, we need to be friends first, and then a relationship. So, there's some friends around you that want a relationship with you. I almost said it like 5 different ways, but then I was like, oh, that's what you want me to say. You got some friends around you that are interested in a relationship with you. Simple. Next up is the sacral chakra, I feel, right? Now this has to do with the emperor. So let me get it real quick. So it's authority, structure, control, and fatherhood. When I mentioned structure before, all the energy requires a vessel, a place. Just imagine all the energy requires a box to be in. If you didn't create that box for that energy to be in, the energy will hurt you, right? So the structure and control. But because of that fear that the energy can hurt you, doesn't mean really hurt, because you can experience this negative thing. It's also a type of hurt, right? It's a future projection or a past projection that's coming up that's going to affect you in the future. So the past is the future too. That's why there's no such thing as time. Anytime you think about the past and the future and the past, it just keeps going back and forth. You don't know where you're going to go unless you know where you came from. Sayings like that, it's just going to keep doing that back and forth. For some reason, the game Operation came in my mind, and the card game Concentration. So for some reason, you need to start matching things. And I don't know why Operation came out, but the buzzer, you know, you can get it wrong and that's okay, you can try it again. But the operation is with spirit. Maybe spirit is working with you in a different way. So next up was the Knight of Cups, and it completed the energy. So let's see. Following the heart, idealist and romantic. Now, romance is a dead art. Romance is the, you know how they say perfection is dead? Oh, I never thought about this before until just now. If perfection is dead and romance is the art of a dead language. No, I'm gonna say this correctly because I'm not forgetting that. That's powerful. They say romance is a dead language, or the language of the dead. And if you're really thinking about it, you know, there's romance and necromancy. So that's what that word, I've always said that. Necromancy and romancy. It's like, do with that what you will. Yeah. Romance is a dead art. So if perfection is dead, we're after something that's perfect. But it's romantic. Trying to be perfect. Oh, let's do this. It's the perfect thing to do. Instead of the dream. The dream is not perfect. The dream has trials. The dream has error. Perfection is stagnant. There's nothing to do. Your life is perfect. You're looking to go to a place where you can do nothing. That's why you're not going to get there. Look for a place where you can struggle. But you can struggle with passion. And exactly that, with passion. A passionate struggle. Alright, so the last card in Malkuth, the earth energy, right? The root chakra is the six. It started with the Six of Cups. So familiarity, happy memories, and healing. There was a lot of emotional drama going on in this reading specifically. So if you're talking about healing, and this is a home effort, the healing of the energetic home. Your side is the foundation. It's the energetic foundation, the spiritual foundation. So everything that you learn about yourself gets laid here, and then you plant on top of it, and you build on top of what you know about yourself. So it seems like you learned 6 good pieces about yourself, and that's beautiful. Why? Well, the reason is because you're coming back to who you are. You're starting to feel yourself out, and that's bringing that confidence back. You know, it goes full circle when you really think about it. So the reason why I did not completely do this one is because of your being. As I said before, what crowns you is what grounds you. So you, at the end of the day, is going to switch this energy. And the reason why it's water, no, I should say this, the reason why it shouldn't be here is because you're trying to work with memories, things that you already been through. Like, what's it called? I forgot what it is, but when you're thinking, it's when you're thinking about what happened in the past, and it was a beautiful recollection of the event, and you're doing that all the time. I forgot that word. I know y'all saying it. But that word, you're thinking about it too much. That's a place you came from, in the negative fantasy of fear. Where you're going, there's no fear, and you are yourself in strength. So that place has nothing to do with you anymore. I read this card reverse, and it said moving forward, leaving home, and independence. Because it shouldn't be here, I would have rathered it in reverse. But that's how it played out. So I drew another card, and Temperance came out. Temperance is the connection between your heart chakra and your sacral chakra. And that has to do with the passion that I mentioned. So let's see. So it's the middle path, patience, and finding meaning. Purpose is the biggest motivation. When you find your purpose, nothing else matters. Or like, it gets chopped in half. Like, the spirit got the rest. I need to concentrate on what my purpose is. I found my purpose. Nothing else matters. Are you kidding me? A bill? They gonna have to find me kind of energy. Like a bill? The what? Do you know my God? Like, do you know what I just found? That's the kind of energy you have. So if that ain't a muse, I don't know what will be. And it's authentic. Authenticity is the greatest energy. So that was the end of Or in Ein Sof 4. And the next part of the reading is going to be the star stream. So according to what we spoke about so far, you should have who this is all about, what this is all about, when it's all about, where it's going to take place, and why, right? Who has to do with a shift of perspective. So somebody who you can find that you'll be willing to be teachable with. That's who. What has to do with water. So things that flow. A person that gets things going for you, or a person that pushes you forward. That's what this is about. Or a thing that pushes you forward. When had to do with affluence. When you get it together, when you start. As soon as you start, it's almost like it's finished. Just the same, as soon as you think it, you can manifest it. Because that idea is here, all you got to do is build it. Right? And why had to do with luck. And like I said before, this is the coincidence. I said coincidence. Luck, coincidence is the hand of God. So yeah, that's that. And moving on with that energy, we went from I know, I be, I want, I need, I will, I desire, I love, I do, I feel, and I am. Right? We went through those energies, we picked for it, and we explained what that was all about. Now it's the star stream, where we talking about the ifs of the situation. Currently, right now, after Or, we have the balance. Everything is balanced now. So now what we can do? What can we do? We can grow. How do we grow? Now here's the, like, one of my favorite parts. It's like, honestly, the thing that sealed the deal for me. I'm going to get these cards out. We're going to talk about experimentation in the root, expression in the sacral chakra, integration in the solar plexus, and transcendence in the heart chakra, and finishing off back at 0, right? Da'at. This is going to be ascendance. So you transcend and then ascend. So that's basically leveling up. We completed the circle, the energy got all the way around through, and it can be used again. It's almost like compound interest. So this is where we finish that off. The first card that came up was growth. So you can experiment with things that bring you the sense of growth. People that acknowledge your growth. Things that you've acquired from when you said, I don't know why I gotta choose this card. Home. That's crazy. Because I just said that your side is the spiritual foundation. So you are making that a home. You are finding and building your home within the spirit. Now it's not a place that you don't understand. It's a home that you decorate. You're getting to know yourself. And went from there to friendship on integration. What can you integrate? And I mentioned friendship. And that's in Hokmah. And that's the light part of the third eye. So I mentioned it and it came up in integration. So that's powerful in itself. Friendship is the greatest relationship. I can't even say relationship because it's connection, relationship, friendship. It's the greatest one of those that you can have, right? I don't even know the other word. What other word is it? It's the greatest connection you can have is a friendship. Transmute in so transmute for transcendence. Yo, okay. Whoever's a part of this reading today, God is speaking specifically to you. You must pay attention to what I'm about to say. Something is for you right now. That was too many coincidences just now. That was a whole bunch of coincidences. Kind of blown away by it. So, first up, we have growth, and this is an experimentation. According to what you know, if you experiment with growth, what's going to happen? So that's the question. That's basically how you're supposed to hear the question. A time of evolution and growth is here. You may be leaving behind outdated and antiquated relationships, mentors, belief systems, situations, or environments. If you are inquiring about a situation or relationship, this card calls for a deeper commitment or a decision to let go in order to honor your journey. Draw another card for clarity about which direction to take regarding your situation. This card represents knowing that all will be well and for the highest good. So this is that energy that I talked about, trust with the growth. Now that you know the spirit got your back, you don't have to worry about everything that's taking from your time or would take from your time. It's only a figment of your imagination in the first place. It's only a form that doesn't really work in the first place. So there are better forms. There are better ways to actually get through it. There are better ways to do it. Let's just say you wanted to lose weight and you only knew about push-ups. There's so many different other exercises to do. So that's other forms of the same type of work. So you can find the people that you will be teachable with, and they will teach you how to do it. That is kind of this, you know, I know that makes sense, so let's move on. So that's what you can experiment with. How you can express when it comes to your feelings and emotions. You can express a sense of home. I am at home within my selfness, right? I am at home within myself. So that means that y'all can drive by and see my house. Even if you don't like it, I think it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. That's the kind of confidence that home is bringing right now. So let's see. You are being guided to come back home to who you truly are. Drawing this card can signal a change in your physical home, sense of where you belong. Pulling this card also symbolizes that wherever or whatever your current situation is, you can trust that this moment is in alignment with your higher self. Like I said, you have not lost your way. You are in fact right on time and on track. Meditate on this symbol to access your higher power when having to make important decisions. You can always orient yourself north due to the morning star, and be assured that you will be make the decision that is in alignment with your highest good. This is about mistakes. Being petrified of making mistakes, you can't learn, because sometimes you're going to hit a wall, and that wall will only tell you that you needed to make a left turn or a right turn. That's what the wall is for. You were going, and now there's a new thing to do. That's it. That's what the wall is for. And even though it's embarrassing to hit the wall sometimes, even though you swore you were right, that's what this is about. Even though you swore you were right, that's okay. That provided the motivation to get to the place where you are right now for that left turn. You was only needed to go through that kind of thing to get to the next point in the location where you needed to make the turn. You know, I kind of said that different, but I know you got it. So, friendship in the place of integration. A new ally, positive support, community, and camaraderie. Meditate when you want more harmony and peace in your community. Also use this to draw new alliances and friends. As I said before, a friendship is the highest connection that you can achieve. You know, besides what we understand as a true marriage. I'm gonna have to say a true marriage, because what's going on now is crazy. It's like a 50-50, 50-50 chance it's gonna be there. Nobody got the will to go through the whole way. It's because nobody wants to lose. Everybody wants to have that experience in the end. Everybody has fears and fantasies that they want to go forward to. Pardon me, I had to delete something real quick so I can keep going on, but let me finish this real quick. What was our friendship is the highest connection that you can have. So let's go on the transmute real quickly, and this has to do with transcendence, right? So, and this is 44. So if you've been seeing the number 44, this is for you. To transmute is to convert one's energy into another. A snake is I've been talking about alchemy the whole time. The snake is a powerful symbol of transmutation. You are being invited to accept this gift of shedding to help you process something important. Shedding is getting rid of that baggage, that weight that carried you before. Is scaly, put some lotion on, right? Get rid of the whole skin, new body. Use this ability to make magic by transmuting the snake's energy into something new and beneficial for your growth. Growth is right here. Meditate on this symbol when you need some assistance in changing your energy in your life. Alright, so transmute is kind of self-explanatory right now. The energy that comes to you, you eat the karma, it becomes your potential, as I said before, and now you can transmute it. Now it becomes your money, spiritual money. Karma becomes spiritual money when it doesn't trigger you, right? And now it ended off at ascendance. How can you ascend? How you level up? Is relief. The end of suffering or hard times, a much needed relief or break in the energy. Miracles, you rescue and reprieve. Meditate on this symbol when all seems too much. Feel it blast out the negative as you call in strength to your heart. So the relief has to do with the fact that we made it full circle. And when you finish the cycle, you will have a sense of relief. Even though cycles continue, there are new challenges, new levels, new devils, more money, more problems, that kind of thing. When you finish when you completely master everything before, you'll still have that accomplishment. And there's always new things to challenge and to conquer ahead of you. So that's the beauty of life in general. No matter where you are, what time you are, how old you are, there's always a new challenge should you want to accept it. Alright. So that is the reading. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a one-of-a-kind thing. So if you like the content, you know, share it with your favorite reader. As I said before, it's going to be an app for everybody, all spiritual communities, all in one. The libraries of everything that we know is going to be all in one, and it's going to be one of the best things that the spiritual community have seen in the next 100 years. Mark my words, that is the ZinFinity Board itself. So again, thank you for joining me on this reading. I hope you got what you needed. I hope you have a new perspective, because that's what I'm here for. If you're able to see differently, you can move differently, and that means that the devil has to learn you over again, or that just means that we just ended that cycle tonight. So with all that said and done, I'm KyFy. Peace.